What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stock Watch Sunday. My name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos, where we do everything, I don't know, a little bit unorthodox, I guess. My main whole goal has been to transform this channel and help you become your own boss. Get you out of that 9 to 5 seat in business and in finance. And so what you'll find with this channel is a little bit of everything as it relates to those two sectors. So I share my experiences on how I've been able to build a business through the Barcast that I put out with my business partner, Christian. Every Monday at 4 p.m. We put several clips of highlights of the Barcast throughout the week on the channel as well. But then I also have the stock market side, right? Where this is what you're tuning into tonight. It's called Stock Watch Sunday. I go over the stocks that I'm watching throughout the week. Now, this channel originally was based around over-the-counter penny stocks. So not going to abandon those. I'm going to have several of those OTC stocks that I'm going to be watching throughout this week as well. Some that I'm in, some that I'm thinking about getting in. It's all generally just a watch list, right? It's not something that I'm telling you to get into, but definitely worth a look. And so I have that side of it. And then I'm going to have also some big board stuff. If you guys have noticed, I've been kind of evolving and trading some larger cap stocks as well, finding a little bit of success, especially when, the penny stock land is a little bit slow as well. So everybody seems to be very receptive to that and wants to see more of that. So I'm going to go roll with it and provide both sides of that coin for you guys as well. If you aren't part of the We Trade H community, which as you can see right here, this is the business that I was talking about, We Trade HQ. It's an absolutely free community to join and check out. The links are down in the description below. It is a great platform, whether you're looking to learn how to trade stocks or you just want to observe them and chat about them amongst your friends. All the links that you need to know are down below, so go check those out. So as I'm waiting for some folks to roll in here, let me just welcome some folks. Raquel, what's going on? She was the first one. Oops. She was the first one here. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jesse. Man, it's been a while, so good to see you there as well. Blade Runner. Red Fox, what's going on, man? Hexton, B. Hexton, I work 9 to 5, can't have my phone when it works, so how can I make money trading? I used to do it all the time, big guy. Set yourself plenty of alerts. That's kind of alerts are your best friend, especially when you're working a 9 to 5 and you can only get away on breaks and that sort of thing. I always snuck away. If you're serious about something and you really want it to happen, you'll make it happen. So feels like summer was more active for pennies. Maybe TT. I don't know about that. It was a pretty brutal summer for the most part. Happy Sunday, Mark. Good to see you. Shark Bob, what's going on, man? Is it Monday yet? Almost, my man. What's going on, Ryan? J Kaz, hey, what's up, Joe? Jennifer Lynn, Hussein, Matt Moore, and Norman. Hopefully Norman is, not on a lawnmower. But Tammy, what's going on? So, okay, which ones am I watching? So, like I said, I have about 4 penny stocks that I'm watching, over-the-counter penny stocks that I'm watching, and then we'll go and transfer over to the big board stuff. And if you guys have been following along, you guys know that I'm involved with the World Series of Day Trading hosted by TradeNet. Proud to say that out of 6,000 people, we have people within our We Trade HQ community that are in the top 50. Waiting for it to update over the weekend results. They said they were having a little bit of a lag time, but can you believe that? Out of 6,000 people, our little group of We Trade HQ traders, we got 2 in the top 50, and I imagine over Monday and Tuesday we'll have even more. So super pumped about that. I'll update you guys on how I'm doing as well. Had a great day on Friday when it came to that. So super awesome stuff. All right, so yeah, if you guys want me to go over any particular stocks for you, I'd be happy to do that. Just make sure that you're giving me a little bit more something to go off of than just, thoughts on whatever. Click, give me something. Give me some sort of direction. Why do you see value in it? Why is it on your watch list? And why do you want me to take a look at it? If you do that for me, I'll be sure to check that out for you and, and give you a hand, help you out. All right. So wanted to share this with you real quick. This is the platform that I talked about previously, We Trade HQ. That is my smiling face right here on our platform, Christian and Jake. We are the 3 guys that basically have built this community to where it's at today. You can check out all the mentors if you want to learn from many of our successful mentors, successful traders that do this every day for a living. And also, I just want to invite you to check out the TradeNet discount as well. As you guys know, we're in the TradeNet World Series of Day Trading. They're running a great sale right now through WeTrade HQ, $350 for an intro account that funds a $14,000 account that you can trade with PDT free. It's a great opportunity. So lots of people love TradeNet. Some people don't. You take advantage of it or don't. You're not going to hurt my feelings either way. Just want to present that opportunity for you guys with TradeNet. So first stock that I am watching and that you should be watching too is WMTM, which won't be WMTM after tonight. Well, and really, it isn't WTM anymore within a lot of brokerages. So what's going on with WMTM? They went through a name change. This was a reverse merger play. Kind of been on the sluggish side of, getting the process, together. So this has been one that we've kind of been waiting on for some time. And if you guys aren't familiar with WMTM, this is one that my folks within the Morning Mentorship have been watching for some time. We've kind of been accumulating a position, and now it's finally going off. It's been fantastic to watch. Some of the folks have made their first real wins with WMTM so far. So all the way up to as high as up over 7 cents. This could potentially run the 10 this week. So super 10 or more this week, I would say. So FUTS is going to be the new ticker. So FUTS is kind of funny, kind of a funny name. But FUTS is going to be the new ticker. How do I know this? You can go and check it out on Silver Flume. You can see with the Nevada Secretary of State that they went through that as well. And you really can look at your brokerage. Type it, search it out in your brokerage. You'll be able to find it there. FUTS. Pulled up what it is that they're doing. What are they trying to accomplish? They're heavily involved with the cryptocurrency sector, and so that's kind of their wheelhouse. If you go to their website, kind of gives you a breakdown of what's going on. Future Science Holdings, WMTM is focused on select industries, leveraging our expertise, yada, yada, yada. What I really like about WMTM is the share structure. Share structure is nice and tiny. I have to believe that this probably hasn't changed all that much, given the way that it's being traded. As you can see here, there really wasn't that much volume to get this going all the way up to 7 cents. So if there's some real money that starts to flow into WMTM, we could see a monster move out of this thing. And it's been nice to see this steadily climbing. You could see that it's been trending up quite nicely. So if I were to draw a nice little trend line here, you can see that over the last 2 months, it's been in a nice uptrend. People have just been accumulating this thing in anticipation of this merger to go through, and you can see that it's finally moving now. Would I get into it if I hadn't got into it already? Well, I think you can make an argument for that. I would wait for some sort of pullback. You're pulling it up on the 30-minute chart. This has only really started to move within the last 2 trading days. As far as an extremely volatile move is concerned. So I would wait for some sort of pullback if I were to make it. If you were really wanting to get into FUTS and just couldn't help yourself, you just have to get this stock. Wait for that pullback. Wait for around 05 or so, 05.3, something like that. That seems to be the most decent, healthy type of pullback area. That might be a good spot to either add to your position or maybe even start to take a position, scale your way in. So that's one that I'm watching for this week. Really started to get a move on towards Thursday, Friday area. Super pumped about that one. All right, next one is DCGD. Now, this is one that I tried to stay away from for the most part because everybody and their mother were losing their mind, ripping their hair out. What do I do with DCGD? I bought all the way up here at $2, and then it came all the way down to 50 cents and lower. But it's made a decent comeback. Most penny stocks, I would say, have a 90% success rate of filling some sort of gap. If you have a huge gap down like this, something that just bleeds out and has a major reversal. I mean, this reversed, or this dumped out about 75% of its highs. So, and then it's bound to have some sort of bounce in it, right? Well, the bounce already kind of happened at this bottom of the chart, but you're seeing here, right here, that it's starting to form a bull flag pattern. And so I think that if we get some sort of catalyst from them, then we could see a nice little move from DCGD, and I think we could even see higher than $2. It's going to take some time, though. So if you're willing to have the patience with DCGD, I think that it could be a nice little setup for you. There's tons of DD on this that we've already gone over at length, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But having said that, I think DCGD could make a nice move in the coming weeks, and including this week. You can see that it's been pretty tough going here right around $1 or around 90 cents. If you pull it up on a 30-minute chart, just keeps coming up to this resistance area and keeps kind of getting rejected. If it breaks out of this resistance, we could see a really nice move from DCGD. Lately, honestly, since it traded up above $1, and even though it's come down here, still very characteristic of a penny stock, but not so much characteristic of what I would say an OTC stock is. OTC stocks are extremely choppy, extremely volatile, and not that this one isn't volatile, but I think this trades a lot nicer than your typical OTC pink sheet type stock. I think this trades more like a NASDAQ penny stock would, and so I think that you could rely on technical charting here as if you were trading a NASDAQ type stock. So if it breaks this 90-cent resistance, it should really get a nice move on it, at least give you a nice little gain up to about $1.25, somewhere around there, to make a nice little move if you're interested in just kind of flipping this thing. But I think there's definitely some long-term potential with this. Obviously, given the business that they're in, could make a nice little move. So keep your eye on DCGD. I think that if you can add anywhere in between this little channel here, 80 cents to 90 cents, somewhere within that channel, I think you'd be in good shape. Again, I wouldn't go all in the first shot. Work your way in, scale your way in, get a good average price, and I think you'll be good. So DCGD, definitely one to continue to keep on the radar for sure. All right, I see some folks checking in, asking about some tickers, so I'll be sure to take a look at those. If you have any more that you would like me to take a look at, feel free. I'd be happy to help you out. So the next one that I'm going to be looking at is LGEG, or LEGE. I'll get it this time. LEGE is going to be a nice little mover. Already has, and Blade Runner kind of already started to bring that up earlier. But I know this chart looks kind of gross. This is on a 30-minute chart. Does not look good at all. Pulling it up on the daily, you can see this is huge volume bar that came up. But that huge volume bar came up and it started to move on Friday because this is a potential merger and a Joseph Acaro merger. We haven't heard from Joseph Acaro in quite some time. So if you guys aren't familiar with who he is or what this reverse merger stuff is, custodianships, that sort of thing, Joseph Acaro is a well-known, keeper of the shells, if you will. And one of the most common ways that I try to explain what a custodian is, or custodianships, what they're all for, is basically, just think of it as if you were a used car sales dealership or used car dealership, and you're looking to find vehicles to sell to people. Lots of times you'll either go to like a, auction, what have you. So you get this car that's owned by nobody. Let's just say it's a shell, like a shell company. And you clean it up, you spruce it up, you fix everything that's wrong with it, and then you get it ready to be sold. And that's basically what Joseph Acaro does. He takes these shells that have really no owner anymore, nothing's going on with the business, and he cleans up the financials. He makes it prepared enough and attractive enough for privately owned companies that want to go public and want to do so within a reverse merger, taking over an empty shell. Joseph Acaro gets it all set up and then sells it to, a potential private company looking to go public. And that's what's happened with LEGE. LEGE, if you can see the Secretary of State, interestingly enough, if you search this guy, I'm not going to try to pronounce this name, but we'll just call him Mr. Liu. Mr. Liu is also the CEO of this company here. I'm also not going to pronounce that. Yibin Company. It's an alcohol company that's publicly traded. And so what's interesting about this company is that they've done $966 million in net profit. Net profit is up 30%. Now, there's some speculation going on. I don't think for a second that this particular company, or that, obviously isn't going to be reverse merging into a shell company. You can see that, this is here. I would be shocked if that was happening. But it's important to note that the same CEO, and this is just their website, just to kind of give you a perspective, the same CEO is involved with this company that is involved with the reverse merger that's going on with LEGE. So a CEO that's involved with nearly $1 billion company is going to be, part of LEGE. So that's very encouraging. I think this would add a lot of value. We would create a lot of hype with this one, and it's actually still at a pretty low price. You can see here that it's only went up 46%, which if you're used to trading penny stocks really isn't that big of a deal, especially given the fact that there hasn't been much volume going on. Maybe some slight loading way back in March, but honestly, really, I mean, you'd have to go, that's kind of a stretch, to be honest with you. So you can see that there's been some selling since then. So I think this is going to be a nice move for LEGE, especially if we find out more about the company that's merging into this shell. And so be on the lookout for that. So that is LEGE. Definitely want to consider taking a closer look at that, putting it on your watch list and seeing where it goes. Okay, got the shell current in May. Yeah, that's a good reminder as well. Blade Runner. All right, next one, as far as penny stocks are concerned that I'm watching, keep it on the watch list, and you should keep on yours as well, is HDII. I've gone over this several times. As far as, getting filings and getting companies current and stuff like that. But if you're newer, you're not used to this type of trading. When I go to OTC markets and I notice that filings have shown up on a company that has otherwise been pretty dormant, and it appears as if they're looking to get themselves current, which if I go up here, I can see that there's a yield sign here. There isn't a pink sheet designation that they are current, but I see filings starting to show up. And in particular, in the whole month of September, we've started to see that these filings have shown up to try to get them current. And then an attorney letter was also filed to get them current so they can get this yield sign off. And a lot of times when this happens because they're looking to get themselves current so they are able to share with their investors, to share with other folks that may want to invest in the company what's been going on. Why are they getting current after all this time? Why are they putting filings together? Lots of times it's for a specific reason, and they don't want to, disclose whatever it is that they've been doing behind the scenes without getting themselves current, out of risk of, the SEC coming down on them and that sort of thing. Companies like this don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, we'll say tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to get themselves current, paying, several, these accounting firms to get themselves all together for no reason. Lots of times they'll do that because they have something that they want to bring about. So anytime this happens, it always goes on the watch list, no matter what. And if you look at it here, it looks like it's at a pretty strong resistance at 3 cents flat. It's come up here and touched this several times on the 30-minute chart, and it has yet to have broken through. So looking here, I think that a case could be made to try to add or make an entry if you're looking to make an entry, especially if volume continues to come in here on this one at anywhere between 2.5 cents to 3. And if it breaks above 3, you could definitely add there as well, especially if it looks like it's going to continue. You can see that volume started to dry up a little bit, but I think that when we saw with those filings that showed up on Friday and the fact that they got the attorney letter out, all that good stuff, I think HDII could see a nice little move here as well. Good support levels, if it comes back down that far, which I highly doubt it will be around 018. Kind of would be a no-brainer add there for me. If I was looking to add to it or make some sort of entry, 018 would definitely be with that. Would be that for me moving forward. So HDII definitely want to keep on the watch list. And that is it for penny stocks. Let me see what anybody else as far as penny stocks are concerned. BRZL, the CBD industry sells vitamin sprays on Amazon. BRZL, let's take a look. BRCL, that sounds familiar to me, like I've looked at that before. Let's see. Scepter Holdings. I'll look at a couple of these here real quick as far as penny stocks are concerned, and I'll move on to the big board stuff in case you guys are curious about trading those as well. So looking here at the daily chart, I've seen some, you can actually see some pretty decent action volume-wise so far. Let's take a look. Here's what I'll do. So I look at the chart first, and I'm like, okay, the chart's like kind of weird looking. You know, it's a little choppy, whatever. They're pink current. They're under stock promotion. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. And I'll explain why in just a second. But what I'll also do is I'll go look at security details, and looking at the share structure, she is large Marge. So you can see the float is really tiny, right? But they still have 2.1 billion in the OS. So I'd be willing to think that there's probably some sort of notes that need to be converted. And I'm going to go here and I'll check out the quarterly report just to see what's going on. So I'll search through here to see if I can find any notes. And there's a lot of them. So you can see a lot of notes. That's why the OS is so high. So when are they going to start diluting the stock? You know, you'd have to go in and look at this a little bit further to see when the notes come due. Obviously, you can see a large list of notes here. So new issuances. You can see all these new issuances. Lots of them. Lots of them. So I don't know how I would feel about getting into this one and investing in it long term. I think BRZL maybe could have a case could be made for it to maybe do well with some sort of pop if it has a really good catalyst, that sort of thing. But it looks like here the pop kind of already happened. And you could see this is probably major dumpage either from like a lot of bag holders in this thing, or maybe they were starting to convert some notes here on this daily chart. What was this? The 13th, 16th, the 16th. So last week, early last week, and it just kind of dumped off. That was probably a lot of notes being dumped there. So you can kind of, let's pull it back out to the 30-minute chart. Yeah, you can see like there's just major dumpage going on. So can it move? Will it move? I certainly think that it can move. It needs the right catalyst. It needs the right volume to come in. You can see that the volume hasn't exactly been fantastic. And if it is fantastic, there's a lot of notes that need to be converted. So I would exercise a lot of caution with this one. I'm not saying that, you know, don't buy it. I'm not telling you it's a piece of crap, anything like that. But just exercise a lot of caution with BRZL because it looks as if there's probably a lot of notes here that they're going to convert into shares, which means they're dumping them right on you. So, all right. INKW looking a little dormant, but could make a move back to 52-week high. Don't get me started on INKW. Nothing more frustrating than that lately. Yes, I'm still in it. Yes, INKW, I love you, but you pissed me off a lot. So, what do we got here? ASUAF just had warrants expire. Fundamentals haven't changed. I think the recent price action, and that's Australis, right? AUSAF. Yes, it's Australis. BMMJ started to make some moves here the last couple weeks as well, Jesse. Which, if you guys aren't familiar with, they're actually affiliated with Australis, kind of a sister company, if you will. You can see on the daily chart, it actually looks like it's starting to come to a bottom here. Major dump off last couple of days might lend itself an opportunity to grab some here. I don't even need to look at really any indicators to kind of determine that. I would be shocked if it came down to 47, but if it did, looks to be like a good ad spot for sure. Scale your way in on that, but you could see a double bottom here, and then it actually broke that bottom. So there's got to be some. I would imagine that there's probably going to be a nice move from this, as long as we can see an established some sort of consolidation. You can see this. Obviously, there's a major dump off here. Looking at the 30-minute chart, it looks as if there's some sort of downtrend continuing here. But again, looking back out this way, if we go all the way back out, let me bring it out to the daily chart again. If it gets down to 47 cents, that could be a really great ad. So, or a really great entry. So, yeah, the MJ sector is really heating up. We want to look at things like Australis. BMMJ was another one that was really making some moves as well. Let me just take a look at that chart, just because I'm out of curiosity here. Made some real, yeah. You can see how it's just starting to move up, and actually starting to create a little bit of a bull flag. It's a weak bull flag, but maybe even this is this is what I like to consider the gravy boat pattern. Not quite a cup and handle. Kind of looks like a gravy boat. So we'll see what happens with BMMJ, but I've always liked that stock. That's always been a fan favorite as far as MJ's goes in the OTC. So BMMJ is another good one. Actually, one that I would actually like to talk to you guys about. I will bring it up later, but stay tuned. I'll be putting a video out. Dan Bilzerian has a publicly traded company now. I'll give you my thoughts on that. Be on the lookout for a video on the Dan Bilzerian MJ stock. So, yeah. Interesting. It's interesting stock. So, I'll give you my thoughts on that in the future. ARSN getting current make any difference at all? They said it would happen all this week. Maybe ARSN as far as getting current, perhaps. We'll see. Tino, Tino may. So, thing is with that Ken Rosenberg, I don't know about Tino. I think the run's already happened, and I don't know if I would suggest getting into it at this point. Yes, absolutely, Jesse, for sure. PFMS closed. Yes, I saw that, Hussein. My fault for not going all the way back. PFMS closed above the 820 EMA again with a hammer making another higher low. Average time filings from Lazar. PFMS, I still hold free shares of PFMS. We've talked about this at length. The folks that are in my morning mentorship were able to capitalize on PFMS from the 000 price range. So we landed 0008, I think was probably one of the lower price entries within the morning mentorship. And so most of us, if not all of us in the mentorship, are on free shares. So we managed our risk, and we're just waiting for the big hurrah here. So we want to see filings out of PFMS. I've had this on Stockwatch Sunday before. Yeah, it's worth watching. The only reason it's not on today is because, it's just low volume. All we're doing is just waiting for filings. So it's been consolidating quite nicely and just kind of holding its gains. We're right here within 004, 005 area. I imagine that just like a lot of the other Lazar 000 custodianships, we'll see filings, and this thing should really pop. So, and again, we talked about this last week as well. So I think PFMS obviously still a very good hold for me personally. Tino is a nasty scam, but good for trading. I would agree with that, TT. Not sure I would be grabbing Tino right now, though. It's already gone up considerably. Again, folks within my mentorship and within We Trade HQ community did trade this. We were able to get in very, very low, 001 area, and have experienced amazing gains out of this thing. But exercise caution. Okay, this has already gone up above a penny. You can see how much it dumped. Just on Friday. So exercise caution with Tino is all I'll tell you. Just exercise caution with it. All right. So, Ken, yeah, okay. Traded a few times, but getting too high now. I would agree with that, TT, for sure. All right. That does it for OTC stocks. As far as big boards go, and this is stuff that I would be trading on my TradeNet account. If you guys are within the World Series of day trading, this is stuff that I would be that you might want to consider taking a look at. Or if you just like to trade big board stocks, if you have an account that you just like to day trade with, then take a look at Roku. This is one that I shorted the hell out of on Friday and made a ton of money, well, paper money anyway, within the World Series of day trading. I made an $8,000 trade on Roku to get me up in those standings. Hopefully, many of the other We Trade H folks as well were able to capitalize on that Roku trade, as well as Netflix. I shorted the hell out of Netflix, and we'll get to Netflix in just a second. But this is do or die time for Roku, okay? I think this is going to be do or die time for Roku because this is a critical support level for Roku. Absolutely, it was a fun short. It was fun as shit. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But this is a critical support level right here around $100 flat. I would say more specifically, probably like $103 to $105. And if it breaks $103, $105, we could see a move back down below $100 and maybe even as low as $80. I know that sounds crazy, but if it can't hold this and you see some huge dumping like we've seen over the last, 2 weeks of Roku, Nothing seems to be slowing this down, and nobody seems to be buying it up. Everybody seems to be, scattering and getting the hell out of this thing. I expect to potentially short Roku again on Monday. So, Tammy, that's a good point. So, if it holds 100, if it doesn't fall below 100, then you'll probably start to see this start to trend back up. And hold over there. But that's why I was saying the line in the sand has been drawn for Roku as far as technical perspective goes. And like I said, I don't need to be. This is another one where I don't even really need to hold up any indicators to this. This is just something you're just looking at the price action of this thing, and you can clearly see where the support lies and whether or not that's going to break. Really kind of remains to be seen. We'll have to watch and wait to see how this goes. Moving into next week. And again, like I said, if it breaks that support, oh boy, I think it's going to be spell a lot of trouble for Roku. So be on the lookout for that. Good shorting opportunity, especially if you're in the World Series of day trading, or if you have, if your brokerage would allow you to short Roku. Definitely, probably could be an amazing shorting opportunity for anybody looking to, play Roku. I would not be bullish on this. Not by a long shot. Excuse me. Netflix was another one that I shorted on Friday. This one's in trouble as well. A lot of the streaming services these streaming service giants were a huge, staple like Netflix. But all these other companies are now getting in the game. You have Apple, you have Comcast now that came out with their own streaming service that they're actually giving away to Comcast subscribers. And Disney, Viacom, a lot, Amazon, and as you can see here within the WeTrade HQ platform, these are the similar ones now that are coming along. You can see Comcast there. You can see Amazon, Dish, and so the competition, the streaming service, industry is, becoming crowded, and so people are going to start picking and choosing their favorite ones. Roku falls along that. Netflix falls along that, and so Netflix has been trending down quite considerably because a lot of this has been going on, and Roku as well. That is why you're seeing such a huge drop off with these streaming service type stocks. Now, looking at Netflix, this is kind of another area where I might consider taking a short on this if it breaks this support around 273 and then starts to make its way down towards the 230 range. Can it come down to 230? I think it can, so just be on the lookout for that. I think that shorting Netflix could potentially be a good idea going into the week. Yes, it gapped down on Friday. Yes, it could potentially fill that, but that's why you're just going to have to watch to see if it breaks the support. I think it's going to continue to break down, back down into the 230 range. That would be crazy. I remember when Netflix was well above $400. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So, be on the lookout for Netflix. This is one I'm looking to short as well. Apple, another one that I could potentially short. I don't know if this is one that I'm going to actually short or not. I'm looking to wait to see if I'm going to go bullish or bearish on Apple, specifically to see if it's going to break here. So you saw that it gapped down here. This gap got filled on Apple, and then it came back down to test this support area. So if it bounces off of this support, we could see newer highs from Apple. I think it could happen. But if it doesn't, if it falls back down into this zone here, I think that we could see, another shorting opportunity for Apple. We saw the S&P 500 take a nice dive on Friday. I think that if that happens, we'll see a lot of these tech companies also dive with it. The only stock that I am expecting to be a little bit more bullish on is Etsy. This is the one when the stock market was going crazy on Friday. This still just continued on and on and on and up. Going to a 4-hour chart, you can look at this 4-hour chart and see how it's now testing a nice, decent resistance here. So if it breaks this resistance, we'll make a great trade, a great bullish trade to go long on, on Monday or throughout the week, this coming week. So if it breaks this here right at $60, I think we could see a nice move from Etsy. It's relatively cheap. You can make a nice day trade out of it. I think that Etsy can make a nice move for sure. So entry would be somewhere around $61. And then You can make a case for it going all the way up to the next resistance around 63.48, 63.50. You can make, 2.5 point flip on this thing, make a nice little day trade out of it. So that's one of the few that I'm looking to go long on going into this week. So let's see here. What else we got going on? Let me just check in with you guys. Millennial having kids. I look for Disney to hold 130. Yeah, I think Disney. I think Disney will probably come out as one of the major, streaming services out there, and they've already made their name for themselves, right? I don't think Netflix is going anywhere. I just don't think that they're going to be the $400 stock that they once were, because the competition is just so stiff now. Roku being the same way. Search party for Alan. Yeah, I haven't seen Alan tonight, so I don't know where he's at. Netflix is dead. Like I said, I don't know if Netflix is dead necessarily. They've done a very good job at adapting to their business. I think that their business model is excellent. I've researched and done a ton of due diligence on Netflix for a longer term investment. I think as far as a streaming service is concerned, they're not going anywhere unless by some chance they get bought out, which I don't think that would happen either. But I still love Netflix. I still think that they're going to do well. I just don't think they're going to be a $400 stock. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. PINS, yeah. FDX could be a long play if it holds the $50 range. So if it holds that $50 range GSA, then we could start to see it move back up. You got to look for that confirmation to start turning back up. I think that FDX, the reaction to that was ridiculous. I think it was a huge overreaction. I tried to play it a little bit to see this past week to see if it was actually going to break that 50. Was it 50? It wasn't $50, was it? Let me go back and look at the chart. Hold on. Was it $50 or 150? I think it was it 150? Give me a second. Let me see. Yes, it was 150. Sorry. 150. So you can see now, right now it closed at 148 on Friday. It's tough. It's tough to see if it's going to break. So let me just share my screen with you. I'll show you the chart. This is what I'm talking about. If it breaks this is kind of like similar to what we were talking about with some of the stocks we already consider shorting. This could be a long play if we see this start to turn back up. Obviously, you can see that it's coming back down to this bottom where it was at 149 back before September hit. Went all the way up to around 175, came down to 148 as of the close on Friday. If this starts to break down more into 147, 146, great shorting opportunity. I wouldn't go bullish on this until we see some sort of turnaround for FedEx. Right now, doesn't look like it's turning around at all. So I think it's an overreaction. We should start to see this turn back up, but if fear is still there for a lot of these companies as it relates to UPS and FedEx, those types of companies, I think that this could probably start to make more of a downturn. But we'll see. This gap has to fill at least at some point, I would think. So just be on the lookout for the confirmation of some sort of turn up here. Right now, I don't see it. So looking to potentially short this continue going into the next week until we see some sort of, reversal. So, all right. Pred's breaking everybody's heart. Breaker of 151. Otherwise, support. Yeah, Tammy, I would agree with that as well. All right, I think Microsoft is at support level on an uptrend with the rising wedge. Might be good for entry, especially with calls if you're into options. Hussein, that's not something that I've actually explored a whole lot of. I'm familiar with options. I know what they are. I know how they work. I just haven't been able to trade them and be comfortable trading them. It's been something that I've thought about adding to my repertoire, but yeah. The only thing with Microsoft is, and I don't know how it is on the option side, but historically the volume's always been kind of meh. So if you're looking to make a trade to maybe a swing trade, something that you want to be patient on, fine. But to make a nice momentum day trade out of it, Microsoft has kind of been up and down with that. So not something that I probably would trade as far as that's concerned, but CLDR, yeah, Ken. So it's not, CLDR isn't on the watch list for this week, even though it's still on my watch list actively. CLDR we talked about at length a lot, so it's not something that I'm just going to keep constantly bringing up every week. But I have gone over CLDR quite a bit. CLDR, I've been in since $6.40. Keeps threatening to trade through $10. I think it'll do it. It's only a matter of time. So sold 139, missed the bump. Yep. Yeah. Holding stinks. It sure does. All right, guys. Well, it looks like comments are drying up here, so I'm going to let you guys go. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you're interested in being a part of the WeTrade HQ community, and you're not yet, the links are down in the description below. If you want to be a part of the morning mentorship, those links are down there as well. There's people here that are watching this live stream that are in my mentorship actively. You can feel free to ask those people how they enjoy it every single day. I'm with them all throughout the day, even though I just do my live stream for 1 hour a day. I'm within the Discord group all throughout the day to answer any questions or set some, or share some alerts if I think they're important enough to share. And yeah, so that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think that is all I got. So as always, I will see you all before the bell. MB Smith is out. Take care. Have a good night.